welcome back. Nice to see you. The title of today's video may seem to you a little bit strange, but by the end of this video probably you will understand why I choose that title. I was actually working on a video that I was mentioning in my last recording that I am planning to do a final video about the missing 411 because new information came in. However, when I was working on it, this was already the material that I had together. It was about 1 hour video. But when I was doing the editing, I noticed that there is a lots of graphic negative stuff in it. Exposing the brutality, the violence behind this. And I decided, you know what, in daily life, you guys have already enough problems. You need something much more uplifting, not something that is not part of your daily routine, and there is no reason, no point to clutter your mind with something that is not going to help you in anything. I will show you some excerpts from that movie made by Inspired. This is a story about Anita and her experience when she was in coma. I posted that video already on my Facebook page. I'm going to leave a link below this video so you can go and watch it yourself. I recommend that. This is something that you may need. Similar things what happened to her happened to me, so you will I just wish that I could take you on a trip to show you exactly how that feels. But from now on with my work, because there is a plan to start working on the reversal and what to expect, my job is going to be more focused on give you something really positive, even though I am going to be talking about negative stuff, yet it is going to be designed to help you be positive and looking forward to what is about to happen.
And I was completely in this coma, but I was aware of everything that was going on around me. I could hear and see and feel everything that was happening. I could feel everything the doctors were doing. They were poking needles into me and putting in IV tubes and things like that. And I could see and hear things that were beyond the room that my physical body was in. And I realized that I could even see my physical body. It was like I felt that I had become separate from my body. And it felt incredible.
During that procedure in the hospital, the first part of the procedure, I found myself out of my body and I was floating under the ceiling. I was very confused. I had no idea what is happening. I was trying to orient myself, look down what's going on, and to my left, to my left side, I noticed that I am on a operating table and they are or bent over my body and doing something. And I wasn't really interested in that. I knew that that's me. I knew that I am out. I was really confused. And at that point, I left the room. I found myself in on the doorsteps of my friend. That episode is included in my book. I am going to repeat the same story in my second book because that's important to this whole thing. When I woke up from the procedure, when this whole thing was over, I had no idea if that was really happening to me. But then when I find out that the lady that I show up at her doorstep, she also ended up in the hospital. There is a very unusual connection. There is a very unusual thing that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen, and we both end up in pain. I remember that when I returned, I was kind of forced back to my body when she fell on the stairs. She was in pain and I was in pain, but when I was in pain, somehow, to my knowledge, the anesthetic stopped working, and I just was. The doctor was in the middle of stitching me back together, And I just woke up at that moment. It was excruciating pain, and I started screaming, and I passed out, and again I was out. But that story, that's for another time.
I reached a point where I had the choice of whether to come back or not, because I reached a point where I encountered my deceased father. My father had died 10 years prior, and I felt that he was there to greet me, and he wanted me to know that it wasn't my time. But even though it was, then being here, I had the choice. I could still choose to die if I wanted to. I wanted to stay there. I didn't want to come back. Being in that realm was so much better than being here, simply because I felt so incredible. And here I had the sick and dying body. So I couldn't see any good reason to come back into this body, because I was suffering, my family was suffering. So I really wanted to stay there.
After that brief pain that I was screaming, I passed out. And I find out myself out. This time I was in different setting. It was peaceful. It was quiet. I was. The feeling is almost like she's describing. There are no words that they can actually relate to that closely. At that point, if you ask me for both kidneys, you can have them. If you ask me for brain, no problem. Just go and take it. Heart, whatever. Liver, no problem. You can take me apart, because that's the state I was in. I didn't care at all. And then after the brief feeling of that, the overjoy, even though many people are saying that there is this light and the sound sometimes, in my case I was surrounded by very gorgeous, beautiful indigo. And what happened next, I am going to be sharing that with you at some other time, and that is already part of my book, and is going to be part of the second book as well, because that was the key point. That was the moment what I was being shown at that time. It's incredible. And at that very same moment, I understood almost everything. I knew how the universe is operating, who we really are, what's the deal with our life. This was like instant flash of clarity, of knowing who you are and what is your purpose. And when I returned and I was in the process of recovering, I didn't really care at all. I remember that when I was lying in the bed, it was the winter time, plenty of time to lie in the bed, and I was very, very weak after the whole procedure. They made incision on my stomach, on my tummy next to the navel. It was about 7 inches. This was a huge cut, and that was the cut was close to the very sensitive energy-wise. There is the Tantien point. That was really draining. That procedure drained me completely of life. I was almost at the end of the road. I was recovering almost 2 months. And during those 2 months, I was constantly going back and forth between all those information that was presenting to me. The strange thing was I could go out of body in a second, and I could be downstairs in our building and know exactly what car was coming to the parking. I knew what the kids were doing in the room, what toys they were playing with, and other things. I knew when it was snowing outside. I even could hear the snow. Can you imagine when the snowflakes were coming down? They are making sound. I had no freaking idea until that time in recovery. I discovered a lot of stuff during those period of when I was in bed, and I just wish that I could somehow pass on to you that the fear of dying that we are struggling for the past 6,000 years, because that's the time when this descension into the darkness, into the abyss starts to happen. Basically, the Mayans were the last who understood what life that is all about. They were leaving behind clues, carvings, and stuff like that to give us hope, because they knew already that we are in the process of descension, and at some point we can forget completely who we are and be in deep trouble. And so there are people like me and Anita and others. There are hundreds of thousands of people who went through this whole ordeal of first pain and suffering. And then we had this glimpse into this behind the scene. What is up there? What to expect when you expire? How scared you should be? How afraid you should be? It turns out, no, you should not be afraid at all. And as she mentioned, as you are going to watch this video, she's not a religious person. She's not seeking any improve her spirituality. Neither do I. I don't really care for any of those gurus, because what they are saying is contradicting what we experience. Same thing with the personal development. What is being said, this is just something that is contradicting. You are the most wonderful being on this planet, and if someone is telling you that you have issues, they have problems, they're all wrong. Even if you have issues, those are challenges that you are going through and you are going to pull through, because once you are over that, you are a much different person. But if it's designed by you, by your desire that you want to go downward to explore the abyss of the darkness and pain and suffering, then so be it. Be the best there is. Because there is a huge misconception that the bad guys belong to a different species. Like, no, we are players on the same plane. However, some of us are playing good guys, some are playing bad guys. This is a collective effort. This is like day and night. We couldn't have daylight if we didn't have night. Night is essential for that. The rotation, the flow, the movement which is required to experience our life is very important. The same thing in the nature. I already mentioned the relationship between lions and zebras. Many people would think that zebras are victims because lions are eating them. It's actually the other way around. Imagine that there is a meeting somewhere, the lions and zebras, and one of the zebras stands up and goes to the lions, "Hey, yo, you have to catch us and kill us, because if you don't, we kill you." And you may think that this is a joke, this is a funny story, but it's not. As soon as zebras stop running away from lions, they both die. So it's time to stop seeing this world in just black and white, even though it is. But this is necessary, this is essential for our development, to have the experience to the fullest with all possibilities. This is like a seasons. In the fall, everything goes to sleep. You harvest the seeds and then you plant them in the spring. You harvest them less in the late summer, and then the process begins. And this whole thing is going over and over with new challenges. The weather change, the rotation of Earth change. Right now, this whole thing is coming to massive halt. We are going into the polar reversal, the magnetic change, and we are being separated into three main groups. I already mentioned that, and I'm going to address that in details in the future videos. So if you are one of those people that are constantly anxious, scared, unworthy, watch the video from Anita. Please do that. And pick something that is appealing to you from that, because each one of us is going to watch that video. You are going to have something that is resonating more or less with you. Remember, you are the greatest. There is no one better than you. How many gurus or those teachers up there are telling you that? They always find something wrong with you, that you should repent, you should do this and that, sit this way, or talk this way, breathe this way. You don't need to do any of that. You are already perfect. The only thing is you need to find the connection between you and yourself. You need to accept yourself as you are. You need to find the respect for yourself, the way you are. And once you do connect with the real you and you accept and recognize that, life is going to change. And anything that is coming your way is going to be a reward. Just have in your mind some model, some imagination how and where you are going to end up once this whole ordeal is over. I am suggesting in one of my chapters in that book, the word from Nostradamus. I am going to expand that in the second book, because I want you to understand that no one is making decision for you how your next life is going to be but you. There is no God on the top that is going to tell you, oh, you go there, you are going to be born in China, you are going to be in Kuwait or whatever. That doesn't work that way. You need to make the decision yourself. You need to decide what type of life you want. You need to decide what partner you want, and so on. All right? So if you like this type of videos, please do subscribe, because there is more stuff coming your way. Please do like this video, because that, for the Google stuff. And please check the notification bell so you will be notified as soon as the videos are coming up. All right, so thank you for your attention, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.